The animation began on an island, where we get to see Moana and her little pets, Pua the pig and Haihei the rooster, are running through the forest and other to find an artifacts of the ancestors. In her quest, Moana hoped to find other tribes that are connected to the ocean, but the most she finds is an old pot with a carving of the ancestors. She immediately sails back while she sings a song on her way to Motufetū, where she is greeted by her parents, Tue and Sina, and her little sister Simea, who seems to idolize her big sister. Moana and her sister had a short conversation where she shows her little sister the old clay pot she found earlier. The other people on the island also tell tales of Moana as a legendary wayfinder who joined forces with Maui to save their island. The night falls, and the tribe holds a ceremony that Moana participates fully in. However, just then, a flash of lightning comes down from the sky and showing Moana a vision of her ancestor, Tautai'Veza. The vision was how he and his crew were set to find Motufetū until they were brought down by a powerful storm placed by Nalo. Tautai'Veza proceeded to show Moana her home and village, which was completely dark and empty, warning her about the darkness that will soon befalls her and her people. He warned her that these were the future that lies ahead if she does not reconnect the tribes of the ocean. Soon after, Moana wakes up from her trance and she realizes that it is Motufetū that she is looking for. She immediately began to make her research. Moana further find out that Tautai and his crew had failed due to the storm and danger of the sea. However, her parents fear that the mission is perilous for Moana to embark on. Even Simea cries that her big sister might not come back, but Moana knows she has to do this. Moana soon sees a vision of her grandmother Tala, who encouraged and motivated her to do the job. The next day, Moana, Pua, and Haihei, along with 3 new crew members, got ready for their travel. Lodo is among the 3 crew who is known for his fast talking. Moana's little sister Simea also tries to sneak on board, but unfortunately for her, Moana finds her and made a promise to her that she will return. She also shows her how alive the ocean is and how it responds and connects to them. Her little sister also gifted her big sister. Moana's parents and her people gave Moana a farewell on their journey ahead. On their voyage, the crew follows a shooting star to help them navigate towards Motufetū. But unfortunately for them, the star seems to break apart before their ship began to act up. But just then, the crew sees what they thought looks like an island, when then turns out to be the Kakamora warriors. Moana tries to get the crew away from the vicious little coconuts, but unluckily for them, they are tranquilized and taken on board on their ship by the Kakamora, to a gigantic green monstrous creature. The Kakamora requests that Moni translate their own drawings, which then reveal that they are not bad. In fact, they have been separated from their own island after Motufetū disappeared, which severed their connection to their home. Kakamora then decides to join forces with Moana's crew, only if they help neutralize the giant clam. One little Kakamora joins them as they try to use a toxin from their giant blobfish creature, but they lose each of their spears tipped with a toxin and end up falling down deep into a cave. Problem arises as Moana struggled to keep the ship on course, which was eventually successful. Moana crew finds themselves in a big trouble, but they got help from one of the little Kakamora, which helped them in defeating the beast. Suddenly, they fell into a cave which Moni, Lodo, and Kale fortunately met. Meet Maui, who finally frees himself and gets his hook using a superhero landing as well. However, afterwards he spots Haie and quickly realizes that Moana is somewhere around and must be in danger. Moana is then attacked by some creatures, and then she ends up meeting Matangi, who in return introduced herself. Moana learns that she is Nalo's prisoner and is bound to the cave. Matangi helps Moana find another way to escape and helps her come across a portal for her. Just then, Maui meet with Moana also, but unfortunately, Matangi is unable to leave but is confident Moana will defeat Nalo, but is also worried he will destroy her and her pet bat. She continue their journey now with Maui. He informed Moana about the danger ahead and what it takes to defeat their enemy. The crew starts getting closer to Motufetū, but they get to a point where the ocean cannot help Moana because of Nalo's curse. Soon after, a group of sea serpents attacks the crew, with Monica who was nearly eaten, but fortunately he is saved by Maui. A battle ensues as their canoe struggles to stay balanced. Unfortunately, the canoe ends up wrecked and washed ashore on another island. Moana is very disappointed by this setback and depressed by this, but Maui lifts her spirits up to get her back on her feet. He tells her that there is always going to be a way out, that they just have to figure it out together. Soon after, they fix up the canoe to set sail again. Later in the day, just as they continue their journey, the crew enters the eye of Nalo's storm, which is what has kept the humans from finding Motufetū. Moana and her crew proceeded to do in accordance to their plan, while Maui tried to create a diversion to get Nalo to attack him, giving them an opportunity for the crew to get closer to the island. Unfortunately, when Maui tried pulling Motufetū up with his hook, a blast of lightning hits him, stripping him of his godhood. Moni, Lodo, and Kele pull him back onto the canoe, while Moana proceeds to swim underwater to touch the island, which would break the curse. In an emotional, cinematic, and dramatic way, another lightning strike follows her, and it strikes her but just after she manages to touch Motufetū. The storm dissipates, but Moana does not resurface as she can't be found. Maui immediately swims underwater to find that the hit had killed her. He begins to cry and then sing Manavovo, which is a tribal song for her, and the spirits of Moana's ancestors, including Tautai'Veza and Grandma Tala, then arrive and descended upon her to try revive her. We get to see a Wayfinder tattoo appearing on Moana's arm, while Moana gained consciousness. Fortunately for Maui, he also gained back his godhood as it was restored back to him. Maui uses his hook to pull Motufetū out of the ocean, and after Moana blows into a conch shell, other tribes start to make their way toward the island. The Kakamora also reunite and find their own island again. Moana and her crew return home, where Maui meets Simea before Moana and her little sister then reunite. Moana also shows her people that she brought the other tribes to meet them, with the other islands connected once again, as they all coexisted and lived together as one. Moana and her crew are then set to sail on another adventure. This movie ambitiously extends the world of Moana, weaving a tale of adventure, mythology, and unity. Its narrative delves into themes of legacy, leadership, and the power of connection, effectively balancing high-stakes drama with heartfelt character moments. The story begins on a familiar yet invigorating note as Moana embarks on a quest to rediscover ancestral artifacts. The inclusion of her loyal animal companions, Pua and Haihei, adds a nostalgic charm that bridges the story to its predecessor. Moana's desire to connect with other ocean tribes sets the stage for a broader exploration of her world, showcasing her evolution into a more mature leader driven by a sense of duty and curiosity. The script's emotional depth shines in the family dynamics, particularly between Moana and her sister Simea. Simea's admiration for Moana not only humanizes the protagonist, but also adds a personal stake to her journey. The narrative wisely juxtaposes this familial warmth with a darker, foreboding vision of Tautai'Veza, which warns of impending danger. This vision establishes a clear and compelling objective for Moana: to reunite the tribes of the ocean and avert a looming catastrophe. The introduction of the Kakamora as misunderstood characters who join forces with Moana is a clever subversion of their earlier portrayal as villains. This alliance underscores the script's central theme of unity and reconciliation. The adventure intensifies with the introduction of new crew members and the perilous voyage, culminating in a thrilling confrontation with the sea serpents and the dramatic eye of Nalo's storm. The climax is emotionally charged, as Moana's self-sacrifice to break the curse on Motufetū highlights her courage and selflessness. The revival scene, featuring the spirits of her ancestors, is both poignant and visually evocative, reinforcing the spiritual connection between Moana and her lineage. Maui's return to godhood and his renewed partnership with Moana provide a satisfying resolution to his arc, while the reunion of the tribes brings the story full circle. The animation then came to an end. Do subscribe to our channel if you do enjoy animated recap like this. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.